Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where this week I've been daily driving this 2025 Lexus NX 350 F Sport handling. And I realize at the time you're watching this video, this Lexus NX is a model year old, but that's okay because they haven't really changed much since the second gen NX came out in 2022. In fact, the biggest change for 2025 is the color that you're seeing this in, Copper Crest, and 2 new USB-C ports inside, which we'll show you once we sit in it. But for 2026, they haven't really changed anything, so think of this as a 2026, even though it's a 2025. So as I said, this is the F Sport handling. Technically, the top trim starts at around $52,000 as spec today with quite a bit of options. We are at just under 60 grand, 59,000 and some change. Of course, we'll have the whole spec in the description for you. But I figured today we would take this on a bit of a real world commute. This is a bit of a loaded segment, and I've been trying to just kind of compare these cars apples to apples. And while I actually haven't driven a Lexus NX since 2022, since this came out, and I think the last one I drove was a prototype, and I'm pretty sure it was a hybrid too. So this is a strictly ICE Lexus NX, which slipped my mind that it even existed, but this is technically the base powertrain. So under the hood, we have a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, making 275 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. Power is fed through an 8-speed automatic to all 4 wheels, and this weighs about 4,000 pounds. Now this is, and we'll open the hood while we talk about this, the T24A, which obviously is a number that you may not be familiar with because it's a fairly new engine. This has only been out for a few years, but this is what we're starting to see in a lot of new 4-cylinder turbo Toyota products. The 2-liter is gone. Check that out, we have some hood struts. But this is the engine that you see in like the Tacoma, the 4Runner, the Grand Highlander, the regular Highlander. It's pretty much everywhere. So if you go for a base model NX 350, this is what comes in it, and this is the same powertrain across the line, no matter if you get enough sport handling or whatever. Also, apologies for the city noises. I think actually there's a bunch of gentlemen on the roof of this new apartment building up here, but some of you say that you like the city noises, so I don't know why I'm apologizing, but enjoy, I guess. But yes, T24A, and also a version of this engine is what you get in the iForce Max Toyota products as well, obviously paired to an electric motor and things, but I suppose time will tell how reliable this new 2.4 liter is, because that's kind of the big concern with some of these new turbocharged Toyota products. But I have a really good friend, my buddy Sean. You guys have seen him in some videos. His wife drives a, I think 2016 or 2017 Lexus NX 200T that she bought certified pre-owned with like 20,000 miles on it or something. It now has 196,000 miles, and it's never had a check engine light. They've only done routine maintenance. I think the only major thing they've had to do is a water pump at 110,000 miles. So if they can continue that legacy with this 2.4 liter, that will be good, because the rest of this car is really nice. And I'm excited to poke around this, as we like to say, and show you what I'm on about. And I actually want to start with the doors, because these are a bit weird. These look like regular door handles, but they're actually little buttons. But the doors themselves, they have really good weight to them. And I know saying bank vault is like super cliche, and we haven't really had real bank vault cars since the Mercedes W140, but I honestly feel pretty comfortable saying that this feels, at least, like the best built SUV in this segment. It feels a heck of a lot nicer than the new BMW X3. I think it's got a little bit of a leg up on the GLC. I haven't driven any of the new Audi stuff yet, so I'm not sure on that, but this just feels nice. Lexus builds this in Japan. Usually the Japanese-built cars do feel a bit nicer. This is not built in the same factory as the Lexus LS, but this is built alongside the RX and the ES, I think. Anyway, let's show you what room is like here in the back. We have this very nice little dealer accessory F Sport NX applique. Additional storage under the trunk floor, which we love to see, especially considering this is all-wheel drive, but consider the fact that this is kind of built to be a hybrid, so we have some extra room if you don't go for the hybrid. So the F Sport handling gets you the F Sport exterior bits, but the reason they call it handling is because it gets adaptive dampers, which I always thought was a bit silly, but every time I drive one of these now, they make just that much more sense. Regular viewers will remember we just drove the F Sport handling UX, and I think we actually started it right here. It was the same color. And I quite liked that, and all of these cars, they just make more and more sense to me, I think, as I get older. Anyway, though, inside we have this black New Lux interior, so this is not actual leather. It's the synthetic material that Lexus uses, but, and also, listen to this, okay? Outside noise. Completely gone. This is one of the quietest cabins I've been in a very long time. You feel completely isolated from the world. Folding down the center armrest, we've got some cup holders. Room back here is pretty good. I mean, I'd say it's just about average for the segment. Sat behind myself at 5'11". I believe this is also in its comfort access position. I do have enough room, and amenities are okay. We've got some vents. We've got some USB-C ports down on the bottom of the center console. We've got these really nice Mark Levinson speaker covers. This is an optional extra, which you'll see down in the description. Nice leather here on the door panels. Pretty squishy surface for your elbows. But otherwise, just pretty basic. You are able to get some different colors. I do wish we had something that wasn't black in here, but they do at least accent it somewhat with this white stitching, which I think looks pretty nice. Also, electronic door releases inside, which you push this little button to open the door, but if you have some kind of an emergency, you can pull on this twice, and it will open the door mechanically. So no way to get stuck in the Lexus NX, which is nice. I think from an overall design perspective, this is nice. This is the second gen NX. The NX itself has been out for well over 10 years, but Lexus takes their time with things. They don't rush new generations, and I think this looks a heck of a lot better than the first gen, which kind of looked like it had a bit of an overbite. I think the front bumper was hideous, but they've taken care of that with this one, and it looks just about right. Let's talk tires today. We have a Bridgestone Alenza, and since this is the F-Sport handling, we get these special 20-inch wheels. I believe this is a 235/50 R20 squared setup. I do love the Alenza as a tire, and it helps this thing be nice and quiet. So let's go ahead and jump in. You guys know this car pretty much by now anyway. It's been out for, what, 4 or 5 model years? Up front, quite nice. F-Sport seats with that embossed into the headrest there. But otherwise, unchanged. Door panels do a pretty good job matching from front to back. Of course, when I want to get into the car and do stuff, the construction workers stop making noise. They just had to be loud for my walk around, but you guys get the point. It's very quiet in here. 3 memory seat settings. Let's go ahead and fire it up. I think that back door freaked out because I opened it manually. It had to reset itself when I started the car. But I gotta say, the weirdest thing is getting into this Lexus NX and hearing a starter motor, because so many of the new Lexus products that I've been driving lately have been hybrids. And I think it's cool that they offer this with just a 2.4-liter turbo and an 8-speed automatic. It's cool that you can get something from Lexus that more directly competes with a BMW or a Mercedes or an Audi. Big, massive infotainment screen with climate knobs on it, kind of like a Mustang Mach-E is the first place I saw that, but this is very similar. Climate panel, for the most part, is easy to access, but there are some things that you have to go into this extended menu. This has the climate concierge, like you'd see in the Lexus LS, which is cool as well. But, I mean, you can adjust your temperatures, you put your heated seats on and things, and this infotainment usually boots up in about 5 seconds, so you can wait the 5 seconds to turn your heated seat on. Obviously, I would prefer buttons, but this is definitely not the worst integration of this that I've seen, and I have no problem with these newer Toyota Google-based infotainment systems. The only frustrating thing here is this one is not logged in, so I haven't been able to use the in-house navigation this week because there's no subscription on file. Luckily, we have the wireless Apple CarPlay. I can run Waze pretty easily here, but it's just funny that these days you have to purchase features in cars. Here are those new USB-C ports I told you about for 2025. Pretty sure the interior is unchanged otherwise. 2 cup holders. You've got an armrest here, which I have my very cool Black Panther Lexus hat in. I covet that hat very much. In the glove box, got a big owner's manual. Love to see that still. We've got a panoramic roof. Digital rearview mirror on here as well, which I always welcome one of those. Some people think it devalues interiors, but I think it adds to it. And I think the overall design in here is pretty nice too. The way this line comes down from the screen into the console. The steering wheel is very attractive. In fact, Lexus just released the 2026 IS, and it has this new steering wheel, which I like to see. We've got paddle shifters, regular stocks. I mean, there are still quite a few buttons in here, including a dimmer switch for the cluster. So everything seems to work pretty well. We don't have the Shrek ears on this like the UX used to, or does the UX still have that? I think it does. To change the drive modes, we have that down here, and drive modes actually matter with the F-Sport handling because it adjusts the dampers. You've got Eco Sport, Sport Plus Normal, and a custom drive mode. So love to see all of that. But I think that's probably good. We can start our commute, and actually, since I'm thinking of it, I do want to reset the fuel economy. So even though this isn't hybridized, combined fuel economy rating is 24, 21 city, 28 highway. So just under 30. It's not the most efficient thing in the world. Remember, it's 4,000 pounds. But you can go in here and you can get some data. So we're going to go into history. Let's clear this. And we'll see what kind of MPG we get on the drive today. Into reverse. 360 camera and very nice high quality backup camera. I love that all of these cars now get this kind of Land Cruiser and Lexus GX inspired little see-through car. Also, I like the bings and bongs that it makes. They're sort of like high quality feeling. Front camera popping up there, leaving our 360 cam. You can see it learns the surface under you, which, you know, their initial kind of purpose for this was off-roading, but I think it works nicely in all applications. First thing you notice while driving the Lexus NX is that this does carry the traditional Lexus steering feel, which I always like to describe as silky. Hello, construction men. I think they're getting ready to close the roof, so I've been here just in time. But anyway, yes, we have this very silky steering feel, and what I do actually kind of like about this is it isn't the lightest steering feel in the world. It does have a little bit of heft to it still, and I almost wonder if they make this a little bit heavier for the F-Sport handling cars. But it is good. You get the sense that you're actually doing something. You know, this isn't just pinky light steering like you're in a Mercedes that doesn't actually have any feel to it. And this is pretty consistent across the board. I mean, even the Lexus LC500 has a pretty similar steering feel. Maneuverability is great. This car it's really just the perfect size for someone for a daily driver. It's easy to place. You don't have to worry about ripping the side off on a post in a parking structure. Speed bump. And here's where these F-Sport handling dampers really start making sense, because in my opinion anyway, there's a pretty big advantage to these even further than like handling going around hard corners, because they're really beneficial going over speed bumps and things. In normal mode, you can kind of just go over this. Doesn't matter, car doesn't care. Very, very soft damping in normal mode, almost too soft sometimes when you're on the highway, but driving around the city, it's just about perfect. Ultra quiet window motors. Get this pulled up here. If you want to deploy your cameras, there's a physical button for that.
Or scan your monthly card.
Love to see it.
Please insert your ticket with the bar.
And the window motors kind of demonstrates the entire vibe of this car. It's just everything is very, I hate using the word solid, so I'm trying to think of a different word. Everything's very high quality feeling. I mean, and I hate using solid, I hate using bank vault, but those are kind of the words that come to mind with this car. It just feels very, very well built. It feels like a lot of care and lots of math has gone into making this proper. Look at that Saab wagon. That's a rare bird. Cool old Land Cruiser too. And even though this isn't a hybrid, inputs here are nice. I just got out of the Infiniti QX60, which I did not film for Topher drives, but you can see it over on the Topher, Tedward, and Winding Road. That had probably the worst throttle feel I've ever felt in a modern car, and this just isn't that. This is very progressive, and it's the same formula. It's a turbocharged 4-cylinder and a torque converter automatic, so it goes to show if you know what you're doing, you can actually do it properly, and Lexus has done here with this. I always say that I'm impressed with their hybrid inputs, you know, but that carries over to just their regular cars as well. Turn signal stalks feel really nice. Brake pedal feels great. Easy to do your limo stops here in this Lexus NX as well. If you're chauffeuring anybody, they will be nice and comfortable. Yeah, we are being set free of the pedestrian chaos. There we go. Okay, into the bumpy road and ride test section of this Commute. This is just such a relaxing experience, really. Driving this, I don't feel rushed. You know, even though I do have 317 pound-feet of torque under my right foot, this 8-speed automatic is very conservative in the way that it kind of just keeps itself revved here at about 1500 RPM. And it's just whisper quiet. We're like essentially off-roading right now, going through some crazy potholes, F-Sport handling dampers, soaking it up beautifully. I think a lot of the 4,000 pounds has gone to bits of carpet and things that they've just stuffed in every crevice possible to keep this quiet. I can't hear anything going on. There's an entire outside world happening right now. I can't hear any of it. I'm in my own little Lexus pod. Like that one Tom Cruise movie where he's in that weird red Lexus thing. Except this is real life. I've got my gauge cluster configured to have a boost gauge, which I quite enjoy. Obviously, you can have anything you want there. You can have your fuel economy or trip or whatever, but I've got the boost gauge. I don't really have a good reason for it. I just like it. So we have cross traffic alert. You'll see it here again right now. Basically just a little reminder not to pull out into traffic, which is useful for some drivers, I will say. Many of people pull out in front of me, and I wish that their car had this thing that would tell them not to. All right, we're finally going to get this thing over 25 miles an hour here once we get past the second light. And we'll kind of evaluate some other things because cars drive differently from, 20 miles an hour to 45 or 50. You start to notice. That's when you start to notice things. But the differences are smaller here in the Lexus NX. But actually, while we're stopped, I want to talk about one thing I don't like in this interior, and that is the haptic touch little buttons on the steering wheel. And I know we're kind of beating a dead horse here because the TheTopher hates these. He talks about this in his videos. He calls it button foreplay. And honestly, in use, I found it to be okay, except when your palms bump the buttons and it takes over your head-up display for a second. The only thing I'm worried about is longevity here, because constantly sliding your finger over these like painted surface buttons, eventually it's just going to wear away. And then how long do the touch sensors have in them? I'm picturing you getting like a 10 to 15 year old Lexus NX that's probably running and driving perfectly fine, but you're not going to have access to your cruise control. I mean, this is the only way to operate the cruise control. They got rid of the stock that we love, and they replaced it with these stupid touch buttons. So also, if you're somebody that doesn't like a head-up display, too bad. You have no choice. It has to be on in order for you to be able to use these buttons. So a little bit frustrating in that way. We see this in the Lexus RX as well. It's also a hidden compartment right here. Power adjust steering column, like that. And this is what I mean when I say this car feels like perfect size, because driving on this road, which is particularly narrow, and I'm in this lane that's riddled with potholes, but I'm really not worried about anything. I've got a 50-section sidewall, I've got really nice dampers, and the car is pretty narrow. Ooh, those are bad. Okay, we avoided those. We mimicked the X3 there. Those were actual pits of doom. It's usually a big concern that I have when I'm driving a 4-cylinder powered luxury SUV is that the engine is going to be buzzy and kind of take away from the experience. But I don't know if it's just the insulation or just kind of the fine-tuning of this T24A. It doesn't really make any noise. I mean, this is just serenity. Okay, going through another pit. Oh my goodness, that's okay, we have it. We're soaking it up. Just absolutely bombing through potholes. We're good. 50 section sidewall. You are able to dull the throttle response a bit if you'd like. Put this into eco mode. I haven't found the need to do this though. I think the normal tuning is good enough in this, but we'll try out eco for this next section. We're not getting any auto stop start. It keeps telling me the battery is charging, so. But you do have it, and you also have a way to defeat it quite easily. We're doing 14 mpg. There's a physical button down here in this kind of little quadrant, as well as terrain modes. Actually, I haven't messed with those. Oh, it's just one singular terrain mode. Okay, let's go back into eco. Just want to see how that behaves. Got auto wipers, or just a very easy mist function, of course. But here's the thing. I mean, you can go an entire journey and just forget that there's even a 2.4 liter in front of you. I mean, they do such a good job with this just existing. I always love a good luxury SUV where you don't really notice that anything is happening. It just all kind of exists in the background. And that's the story here with the Lexus NX 350. And that's good because it's expensive. Prices haven't changed a whole lot, or I actually don't think prices have changed at all for 2026. But having this fully spec'd out at 60 grand and it being the base powertrain, I mean, you can get these all the way just about up to 70. If you go for the 450 plus plug-in hybrid thing, that with the F-Sport handling package and all the stuff, I mean, you're like pushing $70,000 for a Lexus NX. But if you think about it, BMW and Mercedes have similarly priced SUVs as well. And this is kind of coming full circle too, because this is what Lexus has always been. You know, they've kind of always come in to disrupt the market that the Germans dominated for so long. And at the time, it was the full-size luxury sedan. You know, Mercedes was selling 1 million W126 S-classes. BMW had the E32 7 Series. And then Lexus came in with the LS and disrupted everything. And it kind of changed the way that we viewed luxury cars. I feel like in today's climate, this is the segment that matters the most. So it makes sense that Lexus is kind of putting all of their energy into these cars, the NX and the RX. In fact, Lexus announced last year that they were discontinuing the LS. It's been running strong since 1989, and that's it. Done. So these are kind of what we have now, and if you view it in the way of them trying to defeat the Germans in this segment, I do think they're doing a pretty good job of it. I mean, the BMW X3, the new one, it doesn't, the new G45 does not hold a candle to this as far as like overall initial quality. Not even close. We're going to bump this over into sport mode. Not going to go all the way for Sport Plus. We'll save that for when we do the little performance section at the end. But I do want to merge in Sport. Changes the gauge cluster just slightly. I'll give you actually a little sneak peek at Sport Plus because it gives you the horizontal rev counter, which is pretty cool. But we're going to go back into regular Sport. So this does stiffen up these dampers a bit. And honestly, I could see people wanting to drive with the dampers in Sport because it takes away the wallowy nature that you get on the highway. Tightens everything up, but not in an uncomfortable manner. I also want to be in Sport, so this will hold gears for me to merge. This isn't the worst we've seen. Merging at 55, 58, okay, 60. Can't be too mad at this person today, but let's see what kickdown is like. This is a pretty low-strung engine. It only revs to 6250, so uses that 317 pound-feet of torque to its advantage. Overbuilt and under stress. That's kind of the Lexus way. Let's put these wipers in auto. But you guys can see, at 70 miles an hour, I can still whisper. It's so well insulated. Get just the smallest amount of NVH from these potholes, and I think that's just the 20-inch wheels. Ooh, we are going way too slow. Way too slow for the zipper merge. Come on, people. I did actually see somebody get rear-ended here once. They came to a complete stop in the lane, and the car in front of me just smashed right into them. Luckily, I had enough of a following distance that I did not participate in the domino effect there. But anyway, this is just what it's like driving in the U.S. It's noon on a Wednesday. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, ride quality. We've talked about it a couple times. I like that Lexus offers a custom mode. Like, what is this right now? We're going to be coming to a complete stop. This is where now, if you were driving the Lexus GX, perhaps you'd cut across this median bit here and just onto the highway. But we'll be nice and we'll respect these solid lines today. But I am going to bump this back into sport so I can get away from all of these people. Crispy shifts from the 8-speed automatic as well. Well, since we're here, why don't we talk about highway manners? We talked about quietness, obviously, but also ergonomics in here are quite lovely. Even height for elbows, so you can rest your hands evenly on the steering wheel. That is quite nice. And then visibility out of this NX is quite good. You've got the camera rear view mirror. Side mirrors are huge. You can see just fine out of those. Checking blind spots. You've got a little bit of a blind spot on the C-pillars, but you do have the blind spot monitoring system on these side mirrors, so you are pretty much covered as far as visibility goes. Seating position is okay. It is a little high for me. I would like to lower the seat probably about 2 to 3 more inches. I just prefer sitting low in cars. I know everything doesn't have to be a sports car, but I do like to sit low. This is more of a SUV-centric seating position. But ergonomically in here, everything seems to be okay, although comfiness is pretty good as well. Nice soft center console and very soft door panel as well. So I think on a long journey, you'd be good. These F-Sport seats, they've got nice lumbar adjust, though only in and out. It does not go up and down, but it is very, very, very aggressive lumbar. That goes out like a 2006 Lincoln Town car. That is very impressive. Good torque for passing power. Only has to rev itself to like 2,500 RPM to make a pass. And I think this is important if you're going to do a 4-cylinder in a car like this. You have to make it torquey, because the whole point of a luxury car is ease of use. You don't want a crummy little 4-cylinder that has to rev itself out like the Infiniti QX60 that I was just driving, which was a total mess. But overall, I mean, I'm giving this a solid A for highway performance. And also, let's test out this Mark Levinson sound system, which is an option, but Lexus usually, there are honestly some cases where I don't see really the advantage of getting the Mark Levinson, because the bass sound systems in a lot of Lexus products are really good. I haven't heard the bass system in the NX, but we'll give you a taste here of this Mark Levinson. So I've noticed a little bit of inconsistency with this. First thing in the morning, the speakers almost like they have to warm up. They're a little bit tinny. After like 10-15 minutes of driving, it's fine. But then also under some hard bass hits, these door panels do vibrate a bit. Now this isn't reflected on normal driving. I only hear these when I've got the bass turned up. But it is a little bit disappointing because the rest of this car does feel so nice that you would expect to not really hear any vibrations. And this is completely zeroed out as well. I've got the EQ is all right in the middle. But anyway, ending out the efficient part of the Commute there at 21 mpg. Let's go Sport Plus and show you what this can do. We've also got a manual mode. You can bump your little LC500 style shifter down. I don't want to see how much I'm diminishing that. Steering's pretty quick. Paddles react pretty quickly as well, actually faster than I would have assumed. Yeah, brakes feel nice as well in a performance application. All right, we're going to turn this around. We'll do an acceleration. We'll hit a corner, and that'll be it. Car is very eager to go when you're in Sport Plus. Holds gears, throttle is very sensitive. Let's stop and do 0 to 60. Not too bad. I mean, it's a 4,000-pound car with 275 horsepower, so you can't expect too much out of it, but it's quick enough. It's a little bit grunty. You know, you've got that low-down torque, which is nice. Dampers do get pretty stiff in Sport Plus mode. A little bit of a bounce over those bumps back there. Add your grip for the tires. Use that torque. You didn't even have to downshift. Quite good. No notes, honestly, for this car. I was reading an article. The gentleman that reviewed this car was complaining about body roll. How do you complain about body roll in a Lexus NX? These journalists, you guys, I swear, they want everything to be like a Lotus Exige. I don't understand it, because all it does is ruin ride quality for future cars, because then the companies think that normal people don't want body roll. Yes, we do. We want body roll. That's okay. I don't want this to handle like it's on complete rails, but this car does make the most sense because it has the adaptive dampers. But okay, give me body roll in normal mode. That's fine. Give me body roll in sport. It's an SUV. Nobody's worried. That was a special Monte Carlo SS, Dale Earnhardt Jr. or something. But this is, you don't need this car ever to be track capable. It's a Lexus NX. It's going to take you to the office and back, which is what we simulated today. It did it in a very comfortable manner, and it got 21 mpg, which isn't great. I'll be honest, that's actually quite poor. But I just like driving this. It's a nice car. It's a very nice choice in the segment that is very, very oversaturated with cars. I suppose when you go to like the luxury portion, you have less choices, but just about every car company makes something in this class. So it is hard to choose. I think this NX is nice also because it does differentiate itself pretty well from Toyota counterparts. Like, this to me does not feel anything like a RAV4. This feels like its own unique product, which Lexus usually does a pretty good job. I would say better than Infiniti or Acura as far as making a product that really doesn't feel like the lower tier brand. So this feels unique. It feels very well insulated, very high quality, very well built. It's just a very nice product, and it's nice to see from Lexus. Nice to see they still got it. You know, they're still doing the thing in 2025/2026. You guys wouldn't know if this was a 26, but I'm being honest with you and letting you know that it is in fact a 25. That's okay. Same car. Who cares? Let's pull this in here. We'll pull it into a parking spot. We'll give you one last look. And I guess that'll wrap it up for us. That was not a good parking job, but I think we may have saved it. Let's check my work. Ah! Not too bad. We're a little far forward. There we go. That's right. Into park. Parking brake will automatically apply, but if you want to do it yourself, it's this little switch in the correct spot. I like when they're here. I don't like when they're down by the knee, which you've got that little compartment there on this car. But I also like the location of the stop-start button because you can kind of go like this. It makes sense. Good stuff. Okay. Stepping out into the world again. We'll give you one last look at this Copper Crest. What do you guys think of this color? I feel like Lexus has been pushing this for the past like 3 or 4 years after it came out on the latest generation RX. Like every Lexus press car I've had, the UX was this color. One of the LC500s I had was this with blue interior. That was kind of a gawping spec, but anyway. I don't know, I think it looks okay here, but Lexus does offer a pretty nice color palette for the NX. There's a nice red, a nice blue. There may still be a green, I'm not positive, and then obviously your regular white, gray, silver, and black. But I guess this is okay. I'm all about uniqueness, and having a color like this is nice and unique. So that's going to do it for the 2025 Lexus NX 350 all-wheel drive F-Sport handling. Let me know if you guys have any questions, but thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Also, follow me on Instagram. I always forget. I always mean to plug my Instagram, and I forget. So here it is at the last second of the video if you made it this long. But all right, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.